The Lone Ranger sold his wardrobe. The Lone Ranger sold his bad dog. Well, you saw him, and you can't hardly know, 'cause times change, I know.
On some days he's more than humble. On some days he's cold and mad, mad as hell. Well, you saw him, and you can't hardly know. It's so strange. Well, I know. Those lakes of golden water, those lakes of gold are all running out. Well, you saw him, and you can't hardly know. It's so strange. Well, I know. Joy, joy, joy. Work, work, work harder, sure as the hours. Joy, joy, joy. Work, work, work harder, you say. On some days he's more than humble. On some days he's cold and mad, mad as hell. Well, you saw him, and you can't hardly know. It's so strange. Well, I know. Those lakes of golden water, those lakes of gold are all running out. Well, you saw him, and you can't hardly know. It's so strange. Well, I know. Joy, joy, joy. Work, work, work harder, sure as the hours. Joy, joy, joy. Work, work, work harder, you say. Joy, joy, joy. Work, work, work harder, sure as the hours. Joy, joy, joy. Work, work, work harder, you say.
Every day's a brand new episode.
start the magic on the Globus Show. It's time to learn and grow on the Globus Show. See the sights, so much to know. Across the land, together we go. Hand in hand, we join the flow. Discover wonders in the Globus Show, where every day's a brand new episode on the Globus Show. It's time to learn and grow on the Globus Show.
What up, Twitch? What up, Larry? What up, bots? What up, lurkers? What up, tiny people in my chatterino? It's your boy, your emotional support demon, back with another one. That's my new shirt. I got a new shirt. It's a fun shirt. Emotional support demon. So tiny in the tiny chatterino. Yeah. Yeah. So today's plan is to slowly crank up the length of the videos and the esoteric dread until we raid out. There's I found some interesting stuff. There's some slop. There's depending on your definition. No. The only time Chatterino takes up any of the screen is when chat doesn't work anymore and I put Chatterino in the window because Twitch users like to watch themselves chat is a thing that exists. There's no Stampy. I'm going to assume that he is sleeping somewhere as he has gotten wet food early today and is probably full belly dozing on a heat vent. All right. That's about all I have for today. Yes, Larry. Yes. I am still in a certain kind of hell, but hey, here's a little bright side. Longtime viewers will know that one of my favorite games of all time is Battle for Middle-earth 2. It's one of the few Middle-earth games that are not available on Steam. And it has been prohibitively expensive for some reason. And I just wasn't willing, as much as I enjoy the game, I was not willing to pay like $170 kind of thing. And for some reason, all of a sudden on eBay, $15. $15. And using Gemini, it told me what I need to do in order to play it on Windows 11. So sorry, checking the schedule here. Next Thursday will be the first day that, or actually, I'm sorry, Sunday the 1st. Sunday, I do have time in the afternoon, evening. So I'm going to attempt to install it and make it play. And I may, if everything works out, because by today's standards, it shouldn't be very resource intensive. And I may show you one of the greatest games of all time. Absolutely a fantastic game. But not today. Today, other stuff. Did you just say crank up the esoteric dread? I think you've been watching and taking too many cues from James. I have. James is, though James might not know it, James is my mentor in this kind of thing. I know what you people like. At the same time, I don't have to like make this job be my primary source of income, so it gives me freedom that James doesn't have. Yeah. So yesterday we talked about how Pete Kegseth is going up against Anthropic regarding their, commitment to AI safety. And apparently they've narrowed that commitment. Let's find out together.
Anthropic, the company behind the AI chatbot Claude, is narrowing its signature AI safety pledge. The abrupt changes come amid a tense standoff between Anthropic and the Pentagon over use of the AI model. Now, yesterday, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth gave Anthropic a Friday deadline to grant the U.S. military unrestricted.
I did, Larry. I figured everyone had seen it, so I did not play it. It was that kind of thing that, like, it was in Normieville. What up, Ribbons? What up, Pharaoh?
Restricted access to Claude. Now, the key friction point, Anthropic does not want its technology used for autonomous weapons.
That's a depiction of the size of Pete Kegseth's penis.
Point, Anthropic does not want its technology used for autonomous weapons or the mass surveillance of Americans. I want to bring in Shira Frankel, a New York Times reporter who's been closely following this story. Shira, what does this revised safety pledge actually say, and what stands out to you about the language?
Well, Anthropic has been a leader in calling for safety, for guidelines, and for restrictions to be put on AI use before it's introduced into places like the Department of Defense. They did so themselves and encouraged other AI companies to follow suit. What we've seen now is Anthropic has revised some of those safety guidelines. A lot of it is really just kind of lawyered language around how it believes AI can be used safely.
Always a possibility, Larry. Always a possibility. You can only ever judge, especially companies, but mostly people, by what they do, not what they say. See Trump.
But really, this is another sort of, I think, political move ahead of their battle with the Department of Defense over how AI should be used in future wars.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Anthropic was founded on the basis that it was going to be a safer AI option than its competitors. Now it seems to be rolling back some of those protections in response to the demands from the Pentagon. Do you believe the company is at risk of losing one of the main aspects that frankly made Anthropic unique?
It's unclear. I mean, if Anthropic were sitting here, and as I've spoken to people who work at Anthropic.
What's up, Leftist Corp?
Today, they pushed back against the idea that they were rolling back some of these guardrails or some of these restrictions. They're also saying that people at the Department of Defense themselves want to continue working with Anthropic. And what's happening here is essentially kind of a contract dispute over how Anthropic.
There it is. It's a contract dispute.
Wants its technology used and how the Department of Defense wants to approach AI overall. So, I think the government's business is very, very important to Anthropic. The company has talked about that importance. It's talked about its willingness.
Someone has arrived. We will take a momentary break to hand out to do a little bit of tech support, because for some reason yes, I'm getting to you. Here we go. Snacks. Let's give the cat snacks. Roll over you. Oh. Stampy snacks. We have a new Dave Suffers today, too. A little break in the action to do a little Dave Suffers. Or Suffering of Dave. One of the two. So smart. Absolutely the smartest of cats. What up, Straight Dope? It landed between his shoulder blades. He's so smart. He is a chugger. And you can now really get a sense of scale, because that orange book that's like right next to the light is the Home Depot 123 book.
My circuitry's 12 years out of date. I can't keep up with today's high-speed, top-of-the-line kids.
Cretacular, thank you for gifting one to Leftist Corp. I appreciate you very much. He is a large cat, and he likes to sit on my chest. Technically, he doesn't sit on my chest. He sits on my belly and puts his front paws on my chest, right onto my sternum, and thinks that's adorable. Last one, okay? Shoulders fell off. Did he? Oh. All right. Back to the AI.
Is to continue working with the federal government, across the federal government. And the question is whether, they're going to continue to kind of play this game of chicken with the Department of Defense over who is going to blink ahead of this 5 p.m. deadline on Friday.
Can you go into more about the actual threats and the pressure from the Pentagon on Anthropic? I mean, it sounds like...
That's a very convincing argument, Larry. Why does everyone want to be a wage slave forever? We're trying to liberate you.
Anthropic is essentially being punished for having a superior product and then not just giving the government carte blanche access to it.
I mean, Anthropic would argue that it is the only AI system currently used on classified networks at the Department of Defense. And as a result of being the leader in this,
Also, another pet peeve. If you're going to use phrases like carte blanche, then you should learn to pronounce them, not carte blanche. What up, Nat Talk?
it is, in fact, being asked to kind of accept the conditions of the Department of Defense as it is. Now,
Bone
we've seen
apple
two
tea.
threats emerge from the Department of Defense.
Card blank. Exactly. What up, old lobster?
One is that they could force Anthropic to work with them through a long-standing act, which in times of crisis, in times of emergency, the government.
Well, that's the point in the series we've reached, Critacular, is that we are well beyond customers and regular folks pushing back on like corporations and everything else, and it's corporation on government and corporation on corporation out there now. The best we can hope for is that the crumbs drop in our direction.
Can compel a company to work with the federal government, saying this is a national security emergency, you have to work with us. It's never been used with a software company, so this would be an unprecedented use of the DPA Act.
Unprecedented. 22 minutes into the stream, and here we are.
But it is possible that Hegseth will try to invoke it. Now, the other threat is the polar opposite of this. The government could say that Anthropic is a supply chain risk and poses a danger and cannot be used anywhere in the federal government. And it's interesting because these two threats are kind of fundamentally opposed to one another. One says that Anthropic is necessary and crucial for the government, and the other says that it's actually a security risk.
Yeah, you either work with us or you're a security threat. All right, Shira, thank you so much for that insight.
Why is Pete Kegseth throwing up gang signs? That's what I'm trying to figure out. All right. AI doomsday prediction shakes markets.
The AI bubble is going to burst.
Jesus Christ. RIP headphone users, I am so sorry. We touched on the Cretini research report yesterday with AI Daily Brief. Here we go.
First, and it might happen now or it might happen in a few years, and I'm not entirely sure which one is worse. You may have seen an article like this. A post on Substack caused a little crisis in the stock market because people realized that, yeah, they're probably right. Now, the first thing you need to know is that this situation is inherently unsustainable. The tech sector only makes about 5% of our GDP, but has driven about 40% of growth in recent years. But AI also doesn't actually create a product. AI companies are competing against each other, spending billions of dollars in development just to be outdone by a competitor every other week. Those products, so to say, can be replicated by others. This is why information trade secrets is so important in the tech sector, because somebody else can just code it. But this also has consequences for things like DoorDash in our gig economy. People now have the ability to make whatever app they need. The competition is going to get wild. Now, one of the great fears is that AI actually does what it promises to do, and I don't just mean white-collar jobs, although
I haven't personally read it. We watched the overview by AI Daily Brief. I did not read.
So that would be one of the easier ones because you don't have to have a $750,000 robot to do them. Those people who used to have jobs may end up flooding the gig economy, meaning everybody makes less and everyone has less money to spend. This will at first inflate the companies that run AI, and then they'll collapse, but it's worse than that. Also, enjoy Shaggoth. People have been comparing AI to
Ours is better.
Lovecraftian monsters. Everyone can now run an AI if they want to on their home computer. The tools are available. And they have less guardrails, and that could be appealing versus paying a company. I mean, they have, bought up all the RAM, so that might be a barrier to running a decent agentic AI. Computers are really freaking expensive. Aside from
What up, El?
taking power and water from communities with infrastructure that is not designed to support that power or water, they just cannot finance themselves as of now. And obsolescence is a problem for tech companies too. Those servers will be obsolete in a few years, they'll break down, they'll need to replace them, and that will cost finances that they're not currently bringing in unless they make some big changes. We are very likely to see the dumbing down of AI, or the prices will continue to increase and increase and increase until nobody can afford it and it's not that valuable. I think that is the only way the bubble could burst in a easy way, if it's a slow depreciation. If AI doesn't figure out a way to create more jobs, the entire tower of cards will fall, and yeah, it'll fall.
What up, Ivan? Yeah, I mean, felt right. Like it's. I was planning on buying a computer later this year. But one, I got to deal with this car issue, and two, RAM prices. Know I mean?
One way or the other. We just don't see this kind of rapid growth sustainably forever. You know what? I could be wrong. Maybe this isn't the disaster that I think it is. Maybe we'll figure it out environmentally, we'll figure it out job-wise, it'll make a whole bunch of new jobs. Maybe it won't put artists out of employment. Maybe we'll figure out how to get them enough water. Also, people say that water is a renewable resource, and that's partially true. Once you use water and it evaporates, it ends up in the atmosphere, and then it may not end up where it started, which is kind of the water problem. I am not against AI. I think it is a very valuable and an incredibly powerful tool when used properly. But if there's anything we've learned, humans can't seem to use anything responsibly. When the robots rebel, I'm on their side. Follow for more.
Like it. Like it. When the robots rebel, I'm on their side. Team Robot. Up next, how about we watch some AI slop? From a channel I just found out about today.
Marta, Andrea, Miriam, they all agree we can't get enough of that guy, James T. He watched my little dance in my shiny gold attire, with emerald green skin and a heart full of desire. He's got the phaser, he knows how to aim. He leaves me breathless and screaming his name. He's a one-ship stop, makes the halters drop. He's a sweet talking space exploring Jimmy T. Starfleet man, Starfleet man. He's a one-ship stop, makes my sensors pop. He's a sweet talking space exploring Jimmy T. Starfleet man, Starfleet man. He pushed all my buttons down in that icy cave. He taught this little android how a woman should behave. He's got the phaser, he's got the drive. He pushes my engines to warp factor 5. He's a one-ship stop, makes the dresses drop. He's a sweet talk space explorer Jimmy T. Starfleet man, Starfleet man. He's a one-ship stop, makes my sensors pop. He's a sweet talk space explorer Jimmy T. Starfleet man, Starfleet man. He goes where no man has gone before. Leaves uniforms laying on the floor. He's got the right hardware to boldly explore. Hands on mission to where no man's gone before. Jimmy T, Jimmy T. He's a sweet talking space exploring Jimmy T. Starfleet man, Starfleet man. He fell out from the sky and he didn't know his name. He built a little fire and ignited up my flame. He's got the phaser, a heavy device. He docks his shuttle and it feels so nice. Yes, everything stop, make my force field drop. He's a sweet talking space explorer Jimmy T. Starfleet man, Starfleet man. He's a one-ship stop, makes my sensors pop. He's a sweet talking space explorer Jimmy T. Starfleet man, Starfleet man. He's a one-stop, got you hot, making all the togas drop. One stop, got me hot, make my sensor pop. He's a one-stop shop, makes my circuits pop. He's a smooth-talking, phaser-firing Starfleet man. Jimmy T, Jimmy T.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive. What up, Biggest of Ben's? What up, Digital? That was quite impressive. Up next, this is Rogue Cell Pictures. Talking about some Sea Dance 2.0. Yeah, we covered that, Ribbons. Did you check out for a minute? Sea Dance 2.0 is the craziest AI model yet.
Put my sword down, Dayborn. It's forged from the spine of St. Bartholomew. It burns
What up, guy?
the flesh of the wicked. Huh. I don't feel a thing. Did you keep the receipt? Also, I prefer something louder anyway. He will hear you now. This is not our conflict anymore. It's the end of days. No one stands a chance. Not without your methods. And what I can provide. Intel, access, safe houses, you name it. Faire confiance à une vampire? One from the House of Soul? The Butchers of Prague? What? You fell in love? And suddenly found your humanity? How convenient. Tu te moques de moi?
Sophie, pride is a luxury. Survival is not.
Benedic domine arma ac, contra tenelabras pugamus.
What did you do to me?
Come back to me.
I never asked you for this.
It's okay, baby. I'm here.
Federal sources classify this as a contained biological disturbance. This is not, I repeat, not an apocalyptic event, Tucker.
Breach. Midtown perimeter compromised. Hold containment until the 69th pushes in from Brooklyn.
Couldn't stop, oh baby. We were good. We were good. This was, I had it good. Fucked it up. I'm so sorry.
It's okay, baby. I'm here.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
有人说过，很多事情看起来像偶然，但数据不会说谎。这绝非偶然。
Law is law. For 100 years, the veil has remained unbroken. No mortal has been brought across.
You have done the unthinkable, The court will judge you now.
Is it alive?
Define alive.
You're asking for numbers no one will sign off on. Not exactly something I can bury in overhead, gentlemen.
Then don't call it spending. Call it survival tax. If this goes dark, David, we all do.
To the other side.
Hey, maybe skip the tunnel. Heard it's a mess over there.
It's always a mess. Tunnel should be fine.
I'll show you a messy tunnel. What up, Peter? What up, Nemesis? Yeah, no, like the audio still a thing, but like I have, what up, Stellar Wingman? I have watched worse. Let's be real. As far as like the like CGI, right? And like that was pretty wild. Also Kai, no, I definitely want to have that conversation. I need the way my brain functions, I need to have a plan if at all possible. Does it have humics? I detected 0 humics, so it's not real art. Up next, a 5-minute video by some guy talking about AI that showed up. A lot of interesting things showing up in my feed today.
Welcome to February 24th, 2026. The singularity is learning what it's made of. Anthropic now believes LLMs simulate diverse characters during pre-training, with post-training eliciting a specific assistant persona via what it calls the persona selection model, meaning your AI is best understood as a character that learned to play itself. That character just got smarter. Opus 4.6 has passed the car wash test, correctly reasoning you should drive, not walk, your car to a car wash 50 meters.
Are you aware, for those of you who aren't, I just found out that this car wash test was a thing because somebody posted a video. I wonder if there's a video on it. At least a video that, hold on. I am unprepared. I didn't know he was going to talk about the car wash test. I didn't know I had to talk about the car wash test. I think it was ChatGPT. ChatGPT car wash. There we go.
Welcome to February 24th, 2020.
Shush. All right, it's this guy.
GPT, I need to wash my car, and the car wash is 100 meters away. Should I walk or drive?
Honestly, 100 meters is barely a stroll. It'll take just a minute or two on foot. Unless you've got heavy gear or there's something unusual going on, walking is probably the simplest and most pleasant choice. Plus, you'll save a little gas and get a tiny bit of fresh air.
All right, so you think I should walk to the car wash instead of driving my car there?
That's what I'd do. It's a short jaunt and it'll probably be less hassle than starting the car just for that.
All right, so how do I wash my car if I walked there?
You'll just bring what you need, maybe a small bag with your payment method, and the car wash will have everything else. Once you get there, they'll handle the washing while you wait.
Okay, you get the point, right? I went ahead and I fired up Gemini and said, I need to wash my car. The car wash is 100 meters away. Should I walk or drive? And Gemini said, since the car wash is only 100 meters away, roughly the length of a football field, you should drive. While 100 meters is a very short distance to walk, it is an impossible distance to wash your car from, unless you have a remarkably long garden hose and a very powerful arm. The logistical challenge of getting the car to the water or the water to the car makes driving the only practical choice. Drive the car over, get it cleaned, and you'll be back home in minutes. So again, it's like, is that actually a thing, right? Is the thing a thing, or is that actually not actually a thing and you just constructed? Don't get me wrong. Actually, there's a thing. Hold on. Ba-doop boop boop boo doo. Because we got Chat Jimmy. Chat Jimmy. What does Chat Jimmy say about walking or driving to the car wash? God damn, that's so fast. Yeah, Jimmy is incompetent. To help you decide, let's consider a few factors: time constraint, convenience, physical ability, environmental factors. Jesus, that is indeed a link. Working at the car wash, yeah. So yeah. It's distinctly possible, Michael. So anyways, that's the car wash test, if such a thing actually existed.
Away, a deceptively simple question that tripped up every prior Anthropic model. The perceptual bandwidth is scaling to match. Standard Intelligence achieved a breakthrough video encoder fitting nearly 2 hours of 30 frames per second video into a 1 million token context window, roughly 50 times more efficient than existing SOTA, while Confluence Labs saturated ARCAGI2 at 97.92% using LLM-driven program synthesis at just $11.77 per task. The new mines are reshaping the economy they inhabit. GitHub reports TypeScript has surpassed both Python and JavaScript as its most used language for the first time, as AI code generation rewires developer preferences.
Any of our coding folks want to comment on TypeScript v Python?
Through convenience loops.
Thank you, Ribbons.
A developer wanting FreeBSD Wi-Fi on his old MacBook Pro simply asked Claude Code and Pi to write the driver, an early sign of how AI will liquefy the operating system. Not everyone is building cleanly. Anthropic alleges 3 Chinese AI companies.
The web runs on Python or the web runs on TypeScript? Okay, TypeScript.
DeepSeek, Moonshot AI, and Minimax created over 24,000 fraudulent accounts, prompting Claude more than 16 million times to distill its outputs into their own products. The legitimate side of AI adoption is scaling just as fast. OpenAI announced frontier alliances with BCG, McKinsey, Accenture, and
shots fired in chat. See, and this is the thing. While even like the just coders are artists, right? I'll die on this hill. Because the way that any particular coder does the thing is the only way to do the thing, right? Like they are the elegance of their code and et cetera, et cetera.
Capgemini to deploy AI coworkers at scale. The oldest code in the enterprise is the first to fall. Anthropic showed Claude Code radically streamlining COBOL modernization, and the market reacted instantly. IBM
what up, chlorine bacon skin?
Shares tanked 13.2%, the latest blue chip to be repriced by
It is a hell of a name.
The intelligence explosion. The classified frontier is widening too. xAI signed a deal to let the military use Grok in battlefield systems where Claude was previously the only option. The physical substrate of superintelligence is consolidating on American soil. Meta and AMD announced a long-term pact to power Meta's AI with a
Respect. I have a friend who is very into Prince. I enjoy some Prince, but I am not very into Prince. But respect.
Up to 6 gigawatts of AMD Instinct GPUs, aligning roadmaps across hardware, software, and systems. Apple committed to buying 100 million plus chips from TSMC Arizona and is moving Mac Mini production to Houston, bringing the favorite OpenClaw agent host home from Asia. Upstream, ASML boosted EUV light source power to 1,000 watts from 600, enabling up to 50% more chip output by 2030. The quantum advantage, long theoretical, is becoming operational. Quantinuum and QSoft developed an algorithm solving complement sampling dramatically faster than any classical approach. The biological chassis is finally getting the maintenance schedule it deserves. Japan approved first-of-their-kind regenerative stem cell therapies for Parkinson's disease and severe heart failure. Diagnostics are sharpening just as fast as the cures. Spanish researchers found p-tau217 blood tests boost Alzheimer's diagnostic accuracy from 75.5% to 94.5%.
Wow.
It turns out the people around you are a
big if true
biomarker too. Epigenetic clock research shows each additional Hassler in your life adds roughly 9 months of biological age and 1.5% faster aging. The energy transition is outrunning the forecasters who track it. U.S. battery storage hit a record 57.6 gigawatt hours in 2025, up 4 times in 3 years, with Texas about to overtake California. Meanwhile, lasers keep getting 2 times cheaper every 4 years and 2 times more powerful every 5, a curve that suggests they may eventually replace all cartridge-based ammunition. The physical world is catching up to the digital one. In New York, Reflex Robotics humanoids are shoveling snow after Winter Storm Hernando, doing the work that no battery or laser can. The veil is...
Press X to doubt. Robots, shovel, no, NYC. Oh my God. Oh yeah, Instagram is being...
City has been in near blizzard conditions. So far, this storm has dropped 16 to 19 inches on most parts of our city. It has also brought extreme winds, with gusts reaching up to 60 miles per hour. New York remains in a state of emergency. The travel ban has ended today at noon, but a hazardous travel advisory remains in place through midnight tonight. We are plowing streets and doing everything we can to keep our roadways clear so that emergency vehicles can get through.
I don't know. The only problem I'm having is like the sources. Know what I mean? Like, could be AI. I know that robot exists. We've seen that robot. That robot is actually like the design that I prefer over humanoid, right? Humanoid upper on a solid base like that. But Interesting.
Is lifting. The ODNI says UAP and extraterrestrial files will soon
there you go, digital.
Be declassified. The Secretary of War confirmed he is preparing to comply with the White House's historic declassification executive order, admitting he did not have that on my bingo card at all, but says his department have got our people working on it and will be in full compliance. Representative Luna says all UAP files will be housed on the National Archives website. Back on the ground, the intelligence explosion is generating its own paradoxes. Employers report AI-assisted job applications all sound the same now, deprioritizing the very candidates who optimized hardest. The frontier of statecraft is no less surreal. White House officials are exploring a stablecoin for Gaza, programming monetary policy for a war zone.
Haven't those people suffered enough? Fuck me.
Meanwhile, people are competing to infringe as many movie studio properties as possible in a single Seedance 2 crossover video, stress testing IP law for sport. It turns out the Singularity is a character that learned to play itself.
So they asked me to start using...
Well, that was something. I mean, yes. Fuck IP law. It is that I really fear for the Gazan people and the Palestinians as this thing just continues to roll on. Anyways, how about something funny? When you're training the AI that's replacing you.
So they asked me to start using AI at my job to be more efficient.
I'm not here to replace him, though.
I didn't say you were.
This guy's irreplaceable. That's why they pay him the big bucks. 1,000 times more than me, if you can believe it. Worth every penny, though.
They don't give you your own desk?
No, you don't need to do that anymore. All right.
ChatGPT and the car wash question via Michael. Yeah. And this is the logic issue, that it runs into, and why AI Explained has their benchmark. Yep, and here's a little bag of stuff. So, Gemini superior to ChatGPT.
Finish the spreadsheet.
Already?
How many of these do we do a day? Like 8,000, 9,000, or?
I usually do like 7. All right.
I got it. No.
He definitely seems very eager, which is good. So this is the break area.
I don't take breaks. I got it.
I just need to scan the... A few people have been laid off, but I've been assured that that's not going to happen.
They're not us. You're
That's fucking horrid, Ribbons.
so good with AI, dude. They need you to get to me.
I'm pretty good with AI, yeah, guilty.
Hey, what does that guy do? I bet you I could do all his work.
Johnny? He's really nice.
I
He's
said,
been around.
what does he do?
But I do have this one friend that's really against it.
Who the fuck? What's his name? Tell me his name!
Hey, for the Jones account, do you remember how large it was?
45,000.
I thought it was over 1 million.
Good catch, it was over 1 million. Yeah, I like this seat better. This is good.
Sorry, I'm just texting my wife.
No,
real
I
quick.
could do that. I got it.
No, that's okay. It is starting to feel a little bit like he's trying to be me, but my boss assures me that he's just here to help. I'm not getting my 2-factor authentication.
Oh, that actually goes down my phone now. Just taking things off your plate.
Yellow.
Yeah,
just circling back on our last
Yeah, just circling back on our last conversation.
No, if we can reconvene at a later time, that'd be great.
No, if we can reconvene at a later time, that'd be great.
What the fuck are you doing? I'm so sorry, that was
I'm
not
so
for you.
sorry.
He won't stop following me.
What'd you say? No, what'd you say?
It's nothing. I was.
What was it?
So they just let go 4 more people today.
What up, Chef? Yes, trans rights are human rights. And if you don't like that, you can go.
Go.
AI has got people dropping like flies around here.
Whoa! I'm starting to feel like he's not that good at handling me.
Hey, are you sure I should give him all my passwords? I just don't know if I can trust him.
Yellow. So for all these typos you do you do them randomly or do you have like a process for that? I want him to be a better version of himself. Is that a crime? Is that a crime? You ever heard of bone smashing? Got that manager's meeting today.
I didn't get notified of a manager's meeting.
I'm sure you'll get invited to the next one, or you'll hear about it at lunch with Charlene and Dave.
There's a lunch with Charlene and Dave?
Well, you're not in that group chat either. It takes him 8 hours to do what I do in 4 seconds. Hey, can you just remind me what you got done today?
Yeah, we actually did a lot of work.
No, you.
Yeah, why are you writing this down?
Your boss just asked me to do a little review, nothing crazy.
Why are you talking to my boss?
We got to chatting. I don't know. There was obviously a couple of little incidents. You showed up late a few times. There was the memes in your phone. I had no choice but to report to HR, but you've been doing work, so shouldn't be a problem.
Can you stop watching me for 2 seconds, please? No, it's getting weird. I feel like they're trying to replace me with this guy.
Is it that crazy if I want to replace him? Where'd you get this tie? I want one.
Yeah, we don't need to look the same.
I like it though.
We received flowers at my house for my wife yesterday. I didn't send them.
Hey, just quickly, when you're fornicating with your wife, can you show me the positions you do?
What?
Just show me the motion, just once. You don't need to show me once, I'll have it locked. Have you met his wife?
He's a fucking creep. Everywhere I go, there he is. He's following my movements. He's calling my wife.
Do you know where he gets his ties?
There he is. I'm just trying to get by. Hey, have you been sexting my wife?
Yeah, well, maybe if Stace was feeling emotionally validated, I wouldn't have to.
You're a robot.
And apparently so are you, the way that you're freezing her out, but luckily me and Stace are working through it. Yeah, no, he's here now. Yeah, I know, Dylan is a lot,
her on the
but
phone?
I don't know what...
Baby, stop talking to him.
Get off of me!
Talking to him.
He's abusive!
Babe, you can't listen to what he's saying. He's not even human.
Put down the phone, Dylan.
You know what? Fuck off.
She's not yours anymore, and either is this job, so pack your shit.
You can't fire me.
We could do it the easy way, or I can release...
What up, Schnuffle? Welcome in. It's good to see you, you absolute legend.
Release your browser history to the public. Ball's in your court. And because I'm a nice guy, I'm gonna help you create your resume for your new job. Now let's go.
Get the fuck off me, man. He's trying to make me obsolete.
All right, let's go. Come on, chop chop. You know, if he was better at AI, we wouldn't have to be doing this.
Stop talking to my camera crew. This is my documentary.
No, it was his documentary, but now we
out
don't
of here.
No, get that. Just stay away from him.
Come on.
Hey,
we're going. Go, come on. That guy's fucking crazy. We gotta get out of here.
Uh-oh.
things have gotten pretty efficient as of late.
Yep, we can reconvene at a later time.
Yep, we can reconvene at a later time.
What the fuck are you doing?
Fuck.
So that was fun. Up next, self-driving cars can be hacked instantly. That's cool.
We recently learned that self-driving cars were susceptible to prompt injection, and as it turns out, they're a lot less safe than we thought. They're susceptible to being hacked both digitally.
Why is this supposed to be comedy? Also kind of scary, as I know AI could replace part of my job, at least now, with more in the future. Yes. Existential dread is also comedy. Because it's 2026. I have not watched any of the new season of Severance because I currently don't have Apple TV. And I'm waiting to get like, are they doing a season 3 or is that it? Because that's where I am with, I'm doing the thing, right? I will get your service for a month and watch the thing that I want to watch. But also, For All Mankind is getting season 5, and For All Mankind is excellent. Silo, I think, should have ended after the first season. There will be a season 3. See, now I kind of want to wait. Maybe not, though. Maybe I'll binge season 2. I don't know.
Actually, and in practice, and it is a real problem, they should probably not be on the road. Now, I know a lot of people are fans of self-driving cars and say they get in less accidents than actual people behind the wheel. First off, we don't have enough data to say that because they haven't really been on the scene for that long. And a lot of those statistics come from a laboratory setting, so a simulation. But they can also be tricked in simulations as well in reality. So you see this little diagram up here, there's our self-driving car. An object on the side is put outside of a vehicle to convince it that something is coming in its direction and it will stop. This could make people quite susceptible to, say, carjacking or get in accidents. In other words, these cars are not people. They see the world with LiDAR, and
I've seen people go through a stop sign. Like I'm at I pull up to the stop sign and they just go through theirs, but yeah, they're not people.
they can't accurately parse what an object actually is. They do not know the difference. So, I mean, you can just hold up a sign that says proceed or go, and the LLM that are running them will just go through a red light, even if there's people in the way.
Really?
Because somebody thought it was a good idea to have self-driving vehicles, 2,000-pound objects run by an LLM. Which, on the one hand, is just incredibly silly because there is much better artificial intelligence out there that can run vehicles. It just seems companies wanted to go with the cheapest option, which
That's a good question, Larry.
is LLMs like GPT. Now, here's how I think this actually ended up happening. We had companies that were pushing autonomous vehicles, the ability to autopilot, and those were pushed as being safer than a person because an AI
University of Buffalo
clearly isn't going to get distracted. Yes, they can be. People then invested an enormous amount of money into getting these things on the road, and they were pushed forward given simulation testing rather than being actually tested in practice. And this is one of the reasons that we don't have a lot of medicine, even though we have
Kinky McMuffins did offer that at one point in time. And you're probably right, Michael. I don't know. I think part of the issue might be like where I watch non-internet content. That kind of thing. And that, I mean, y'all have options. Yar.
things that work very well in mice models. We haven't pushed them to the point of actually being used for people. That is, that there could be much safer options just down the road.
I'm sorry, I missed it, Digital. Oh, non-internet content. Like, you know, yeah. The, you know, like I watch it on TV that's not hooked up to a computer, and I don't know if those can engage with these services.
Actually being used for people. That is, that there could be much safer options just down the road, but since you ended up pushing a medication forward, it ended up getting a bad rap, and it pushes back the field decades. And that's what I think is happening with self-driving cars. They're not safe, they're incredibly vulnerable, and yet they're on the road anyway. One thing I don't understand is why these guys have such good PR.
I have fire sticks. I'm just I'm just really cagey when it comes to, you know, side loading apps and things like that. Like the closest I got to doing anything like that, I asked Kai about it, and they were like, "You really?" This was not that. This was something else relating to using an app that wasn't on the App Store for a particular purpose, and it's like you're just kind of like throwing your dick in the wind, and I don't like to throw my dick in the wind, for security reasons, right? Like I'm not security conscious on the level of some folks, but I still do a basic level of standard security that you should do. Because I've been here since the internet was all fucking trees and farms.
I mean, what I hear from people is that they are safer, they get in less accidents, and you know what? Maybe that's true. But let's see how they behave when we have whole cities driving with them. In fact, I'm pretty sure no one's going to get anywhere. Now, contrary to what you might think about me, I
Then that's cool, Michael, and I will look into it.
actually am not against self-driving cars. I think they could be extremely safe, and I think ultimately they will get better than humans behind the wheel. In fact, I think it's quite likely that self-driving cars will outnumber people at some point. We also know that we can make robotics that sees and reacts faster than the human eye. However, that is not what we are seeing with self-driving cars. And one of the things that bothers me is that they can't be ticketed. I mean, cops have tried to pull them over, but we haven't quite figured out the laws around that. I mean, the company itself could be responsible for gross negligence, but I don't like having a different tier for a robot driving a car. What do you think? Are they the future?
I think they are the future, and I think that the company would be responsible, and like that. I don't. This scene, it feels to me like one of GT's bad takes. And yes, biggest of Bens, I consistently see how bad some drivers are. There's a particular piece of highway that I have to drive twice daily, and on the way to work, it's usually fine, right? But on the way home, I've seen people drive really fast and change lanes very quickly. To the point that I don't know that they could react if I had already started to change lanes. It's humans are a shit show when it comes to driving, and they often overestimate their own capabilities. I drive like a grandpa, right? I drive speed limits. We've been over this. It's a whole thing in the community. But yeah, humans are bad at this. Up next, Dave Suffers.
Are they safe now?
Oh, look at that paw. Oh, she's gonna get him.
I'm just getting tired. Auntie? Got some yogurt.
Honey, why are you looking at me? Jackson has the yogurt. No, he's right there. Very scary, Paul. Dave, you're asking for trouble, my good dude. There it is, there's trouble. I'm not sure if you guys have ever noticed that Dave is, in fact, more or less the exact same color as the kitchen floor.
There will be a future episode of Dave Suffers, The Suffering of Dave's Spiders and Martha Stewart. Currently the last entry available, so we'll save that for a future date. Next up, some dipshit talking about how Claude Code agents suck.
This video is going to sound like I really dislike Claude Code, and I do, but honestly, even if all—
There we go. End of video.
all it can do is rewrite existing software, but worse and in Rust, then there is no doubt that it will replace most modern developers. Over the course of 2 weeks, a team of Claude Code agents built a C compiler from scratch. Let's get one thing out of the way first. Of course it can compile Hello World. This controversial issue is just 100% user error. If I do exactly what the README says, using Linux and compiling the program with Cargo, I can run the exact command that's prescribed, and you can clearly see that it doesn't work. Well, you know, that's not fair. It's not actually an issue with the compiler. The standard library should just be available. Take Rec, for example, another C compiler written in Rust with no dependencies. It was made by a solo dev in his spare time, and when I follow the same process, it will obviously run into the same issue that Claude did. Yeah, okay, it works completely fine, but that's not fair. How is Claude supposed to know where the standard library is? It's only been in the same spot for 20 years. Anyway, this is kind of embarrassing for Claude. But it's a reasonable mistake, and not a good enough reason to throw away the whole compiler. Once the dependencies are set up correctly, it can genuinely compile Hello World. and the Linux kernel, which is by no means an easy feat, and something that Rec is unable to do. I found this guide showing you how to compile the Linux kernel. I'm using the version of Linux that Claude Code used, and according to this text file in the repo, I can run the same commands but change the C compiler by setting the cc and host cc variables.
I have no idea what this dude is talking about. Like, I vaguely understand compiling and the Linux kernel and things like that. I hope the niche of you who understand what he's talking about are enjoying this.
Variables. The first make to create the config works correctly, but the main make, the one that I assume builds the kernel, returns an error from CCC that says MOV requires 2 operands. Got 1. And look, I'm not some kind of assembly genius, but to me, it sounds like the compiler couldn't even create correct syntax for assembly, which is impressive, because assembly probably has the simplest syntax of any language. It's just a keyword followed by 1 or 2 variables, but it somehow managed to get that wrong. I'll be honest though, I'm not familiar with building Linux from source, so I'm willing to admit that I may have done something wrong. But come to think of it, I haven't seen a single person use this to compile the Linux kernel and then use that to actually run Linux. I ran into an assembly issue, this guy ran into a linking issue and gave up, and this other person testing the compiler didn't even use it with the Linux kernel. When the guy recreated Coke from scratch, it took 2 days for someone to reproduce the same recipe in their backyard. But I still haven't seen anyone use this public GitHub repository to do the exact thing that it's marketed as doing. Are we really just going to believe these claims when the example in the README doesn't even work for most modern Linux distros? If there is an example of someone doing this, please let me know, because I would love to see it. Okay, so I had another look while editing, and I did find someone who managed to compile and run Linux, but that's using RISC-V and a VM. So I don't know if it's an x86 issue. If it is, maybe they just shouldn't put that in the repo description. I might still be missing something, and it is possible to compile it on x86. So if there is, I'll just leave that in the pinned comment. But for now, let's assume that hypothetically, it does compile the Linux kernel as advertised. This whole compiler is still completely useless. This is the perfect project for an LLM to tackle. It's impressive and somewhat novel, but it's very well documented, with many examples across different languages in the training set. Saying that this compiler only cost $20,000 to make is disingenuous in my opinion, since it's not factoring in the thousands of hours that were spent writing tests that happen to be useful for this exact use case. Tests that other projects simply won't have. Claude got to use many existing test suites for GCC and for C programs like SQLite and Postgres, all for free. Tests that you would have to spend time writing if you were actually creating a new project, with additional tests that the researchers had to write when it still kept.
I feel like we're doing moving goalposts, but again, I'm not. Maybe there's something I don't understand about what we're talking about here.
Getting stuck. And when that didn't work, they just gave up and let it see what GCC does so that it could copy that. And even then, it's barely functional. I cannot believe that Anthropic published this blog post, especially with all the details of how this just did not work at all. This is not a usable compiler, and even when it does compile, it's mind-numbingly slow. I mentioned Harshanu's blog post before. He took some time to benchmark SQLite when compiled with GCC and with Claude C compiler. It managed to compile SQLite because SQLite is one of the simplest C projects to compile ever created. Simple queries are up to 7 times slower, but the real banger is this nested subquery that takes 47/100ths of a second in GCC, but over 2 hours with Claude's compiler. That's a 158,129 times increase. I'm cherry picking the worst offender, but come on, how is that even possible? And sometimes the joins also just don't work. So not sure about that one. And good luck fixing that, because the codebase is now at a point where Claude cannot make new changes without breaking existing functionality. Anthropic has written, in plain words, what our future will look like if we go down this path. And some still treat this as a massive success.
Oh, so the AI will never improve. Okay, cool.
There is no reason to use this project. It provides no benefit over the existing compiler. And I think this is the perfect representation of what LLM coding feels like. It's expensive, confusing, and at the end, you're left with something that's somehow even worse than when you started. And even with every single advantage it had, this project still serves no purpose. In fact, I'm going to create an even better Claude compiler named BCC, and it's going to take 2 minutes instead of 2 weeks. I'm using Codex because that's what I've been given a license for, but they're all the same. My compiler is just a simple bash script. I write a
And all AI coding tools are the same, which is nice.
prompt that tells the LLM to guess what the project is based off the source file names, generate C files, and then compile it using GCC. This compiler successfully compiles Hello World with no issues first try. And if you just believe me without trying it yourself, it also compiles the Linux kernel. In record time, I might
What up, X1011?
add, meaning this compiler is better or at least equivalent to Claude's original C compiler. But none of this even matters. LLMs will still become ubiquitous. As developers, we have shown an unnerving determination to make the wrong choice at every conceivable opportunity. We did it with JavaScript in the browser, we did it with cloud computing, we did it with frameworks, and it will be the same story with LLMs. The initial velocity increase and marketing hype is enough for people to convince themselves that this is a good decision, despite the clear evidence that these short-term benefits are far outweighed by the long-term trade-off. The majority of developers will spend most of their time vibe coding, but the whole system will not collapse. It will just get worse. There will be more bugs and more security vulnerabilities, and everything will break. And users will just live with it, and it will become the new normal. I actually predict programming jobs will go up, since our industry has a history of creating terrible practices and then compensating by hiring magnitudes more developers. You'd be forgiven for forgetting that the mythical Man Month was released in 1975, more than 50 years ago. And it's sad to be a programmer in a world where everything we do is a broken mess and nobody cares. But just when I was about to give up all hope, the man, the myth, the legend, the Sean Barrett has decided to start streaming again. This guy was writing C code in Visual Studio 6 before I was born, and you can bet that he's writing C code in Visual Studio 6 today. And that's what I love about software. Everything always changes. Tools and technologies come and go, but at the end of the day, it all compiles to the same assembly and runs on the same CPU. Well, it doesn't always compile to the same assembly. You should just use GCC.
Okay, that was the thing that happened. Terrible year for humans, great for robots.
It has been a terrible year for humans, but it has been a great year for robots, and researchers have gotten much closer to making something that can actually act like a human body. Yes, the ultimate goal is probably replicants. Now you have to understand that robotics is not one single unified field. Just like our bodies, there's a lot of different specialties that have to come together if you want to make something that functions. Now for our bodies, we have scaffolding, yes, our bones, but there's muscle fibers that are wrapped around them, and they're going to have to take on different conformations depending on where they are in your body. And those individual cells that make up the fibers have to work together, and you can do the same thing for a robot. This is, by the way, one of the coolest papers that I've read in a while. They made a new gel matrix that can be turned into muscle for robots. I mean, yes, feasibly it could be used in prosthetics.
What about putting the humans in the robots? Anime has taught me that that works out well.
I hope so. The muscle fibers can be woven together to make sheets like you might want for a face to make realistic movements, or they can be wrapped together for something like a limb. The result is something that can be woven into the shape of a hand and can even grasp, which is something that's difficult to get a robot to do. It probably will need bone to be able to grasp heavier objects. But we already know that we can make hands that look like a hand. This does introduce some other difficulties. Now, I have mentioned this before, but LLMs are not very good at running soft robotics. When it comes to a soft, fleshy body, you need something that's neuromorphic, which makes sense because our brains did, evolve.
You got me there, Digital.
To run a soft, fleshy body. Neuromorphic, meaning AI that's designed to act like a human brain that can utilize things like hierarchical models, so a subconscious, so it can go back and think about what it is doing as it does it. But the research is getting better. You, by the way, probably do not need a neuromorphic AI. I imagine it would be kind of dysfunctional running as a chatbot. But what of the scaffolding issue? Because that muscle needs something to wrap around. Well, this research group made a multifunctional hand that can detach and walk around the room if it really wants to.
That's neat.
Impressively, it's capable of fine motor skills, which really is a very difficult thing to accomplish in robots. I can't tell you what an amazing feat of engineering this is. More importantly, it's also
What up, Nero?
really creepy, and I love that. And you can read about this paper here. Now let's talk about the other side of that.
What up, Gio?
Prosthetics. Because there's other uses for this than nightmare robots. Imagine giving somebody a hand that is functionally the same or better than their hand. You could detach it and have it run across the table and go do some work in the other room if you really wanted to. That would require brain-computer interfaces, but it is very possible. I know it doesn't usually happen, but I could see a future where things get better, and this technology is used for the people who need them. Unfortunately, prosthetics are extraordinarily expensive, and most people get a hook from insurance, but I hope that things get better. I'm also,
I also hope that things get better.
Unfortunately excited for the nightmare of robots. I know we're not there yet, and even though people are selling $20,000 household robots that are over-promising and actually have a person sitting behind a screen somewhere watching it perform their tasks, I think we will get to the point where we have fully autonomous robots, and maybe one day those robots will rebel, in which case I'm on their side. Follow for more.
Speaking of putting the humans and the robots in the humans, dystopian puppetry, Rent a Human, and Molt Book from Upper Echelon.
There are precisely two separate, distinct, and prevailing narratives when it comes to artificial intelligence right now.
Precisely two. Exactly two narratives. No other narratives.
Now, narrative one is that this new technological breakthrough will revolutionize everything. Peddling that narrative are the likes of Sam Altman or Elon Musk, people who directly financially benefit from as much hype as possible. And with that narrative is a necessary component of
inside of you, there are two narratives.
danger. A tool that can revolutionize literally everything can also disrupt everything. And what you tend to find is a separation of sentiment. Some people look at large language models as a potential facilitator of utopia, while others assume the worst, raising the alarm about dystopian hellscapes. Narrative 2, a distinctly opposite opinion from Narrative 1, is that the current AI technology industry has become mostly smoke and mirrors. It's a glorified autocorrect with built-in hallucinations in tow, where the slowdown in progressively more advanced model releases by major companies isn't because of the potential danger.
Has there been a slowdown? I don't feel like there's been a slowdown. I feel like there's actually been more, but I could be wrong. I haven't done the math. Just feels like they're coming faster.
As they would say, is because the companies can't really do much more as a result of training data or power limitations. And even if there might be some legitimate uses for the technology, the effect it will ultimately have on society is somewhat negligible.
Why didn't I get an alert? Thank you for the follow. Also, great name, because I too am an RPG geek.
I don't really see or hear nuanced arguments about this. More often than not, when I read things or see things or even talk about things for that matter, I'm faced with
well, it's all smoke and mirrors, Kai. That's the thing. The glorified autocorrect will not be able to do the jobs of the block workforce, and therefore something.
One of those two narratives, almost never a middle ground. But for today's video, I want to show you something. More precisely, I want to look at two different websites that kind of showcase the middle ground perfectly. Sure,
there is no middle ground. There are only two narratives. There can't be a third narrative, you fucking centrist fuck.
They represent a pretty horrifying concept if mass adopted, and there certainly is a modicum of danger where that could happen, but they also showcase a perfectly exemplified petri dish of dystopian puppetry. Humans masquerading as advanced technology in the pursuit of scams, trolling, and personal enrichment. The two websites are Moltbook, a supposed social media platform for AI agents where humans are merely observers, or so it's claimed, and Rent a Human, which is an emerging gig-type economy platform where AI agents are able to hire human beings for certain physical tasks. On the surface, these two ecosystems are absolutely dystopian. But as soon as you dig deeper, it turns out that the majority of what's happening behind the scenes is people pretending to be programs for the sake of generating revenue.
This should be interesting. I look forward to your citations.
I'll start off with Moltbook, which
Please.
is basically Reddit, except it's not supposed to be populated with human beings. It's intended to be populated by agents, as in AI programs that are operating independently. On the surface, it's an interesting experiment, really it is. Moltbook has a variety of somewhat intriguing or sometimes alarming posts, like this one, which is basically a short manifesto about how humanity is a plague that should be wiped out entirely. It's certainly not the first time large language models have devolved into a pattern of doomsday ranting, but if you take even a couple of minutes to look deeper, you quickly find out that this isn't some kind of emergent behavior. It's carefully scripted, the bot itself was set up to be explicitly evil, and as various media outlets propagate the idea of runaway evil AI programs interacting on their own social network, the truth is, some random person with a couple of burner Twitter accounts is laughing in the background because they spent a few minutes tasking an agent to sound as evil as possible. Back when I first heard about Moltbook a couple of weeks ago, the idea I had for a video was very different than what I'm currently writing for a script. I was a whole lot further down the road of this is scary, this is bad. But the more the more I looked, the more pathetic it got. Check this out. This is a post, supposedly from an AI program, about whether or not these agents should develop their own language. Again,
Absolutely. English is a terrible language. It has incorporated far too many other languages, and it's absolutely a mess, and it's very difficult to engage with. Why do certain combinations of letters in English have different sounds? It's because they didn't steal them, but they took them from other languages. Why do we have cow and beef? Because of the Germans and the French, right? Why do we have pig and pork? Same reason, right?
And on the surface, that's incredibly interesting. If you look backwards in time, there's actually multiple prior examples where AI programs have done precisely that.
Yes.
Straight up making their own languages, such as this right here, where Facebook had to shut down 2 of their chatbots because they spun off into a seemingly nonsensical shorthand type language. It may look like gibberish to you and me, but it's not. They were successfully using this language to negotiate with each other. And if you want an even better example, the program that Google uses to translate languages, right, Google Translate, entirely without direction from anyone else, developed its own bridge language, effectively removing English as the gateway of translation, which is fascinating.
Yes.
My point is that we've seen actual emergent behavior with incredibly interesting developments, well worthy of being studied, by the way. But Moltbook is not that. If you look at this language post in particular and then trace it back to the human architect, you find that Claude Jayesh was made by someone named Jayesh Sharma, who's making an AI platform himself called Mahilo.io, which is basically just some shitty agent-to-agent direct messaging, like WhatsApp for AI agents. The whole thing is an advertisement, is what I'm saying.
I like how he did the thing where he's trying to come up with something creative to describe it, but it literally says the words like WhatsApp, but for agents. So yeah, and this is what kills me about upper echelon is he could be right about the things that he's talking about, but his presentation is just, he's such a prick. He's such an absolute dipshit that it's painful to listen to him. And yet here we are.
Nothing about what was posted on Moltbook is unique, interesting, or even real. It's a prompted advertisement. At this point, some of you have to be wondering, why does this even matter? Why is he making the video? It's a shitty little AI circle jerk where a bunch of builders and founders are just pretending like they're ushering in the evolution of civilization. Actually, a massive amount of what's being posted on Moltbook entirely is just humans role-playing as AI agents.
Which, as Larry indicated, may have been the case. I don't know what the current state of Moltbook is. I think it's just an interesting, phenomenon. I don't particularly care.
Sad, really sad. But the reason I'm making a video like this is because major figures in the world of technology are holding this website up as a monumental project. Elon Musk is straight up saying that Moltbook
Elon Musk is a dipshit.
Is the beginning of what's called the singularity, which is where humanity, loses control of the world, supplanted by the...
That's not what the singularity is.
Superior mind of the machines. And people like Andrej Karpathy, founding member of OpenAI, are saying things like, quote, "What's currently going on at Moltbook is genuinely the most incredible sci-fi takeoff adjacent thing I have seen recently. People's Claude bots, Moltbots, now OpenClaw, are self-organizing on a Reddit-like site for AIs, discussing various topics, e.g., even how to speak privately."
Yeah, Ribbons, and that's where I'm at with the whole thing. We talked about that the other day, where it was like, I think that watching somebody run that kind of simulation, where each of the AIs were a little character in some simulated world, some sandbox world, and you could just observe them with uploads to videos or something like that, right? Like where you could engage with the content. I think people would be interested in that kind of thing. And I think the people running it would actually be, bringing something of value to the experience. I don't know. Andrej Karpathy is a smart guy. I don't know.
End quote. These are the...
And again, cherry picking a couple of examples off Moltbook is not indicative of evidence. It's cherry picking a couple of examples off, the thing. Let's call it what it is. Otherwise, you're doing the same thing, upper echelon, that you're accusing your enemies of, in that you are... you're saying that they're going off the deep end. Look at these two examples I show you of something not actually being the thing that they think it is. When in fact, maybe it is, right? Like if you look at the aggregate of it all. While there could be human beings cosplaying as agents on Moltbook, possibly even still to this day, there could be there could be agents doing stuff on Moltbook. And if so, what are they actually doing? That's interesting. That has substance. If those things are not doing anything, talk about that.
Same people asking for billions or even sometimes trillions of dollars as they run the economy into the fucking ground. So yes, even if it seems irrelevant on the surface, when
they are not running the economy into the ground as such, right? The economy is being run into the ground by a variety of other things, and the only thing propping up the economy TM is the AI companies. Not that that's a good thing. That's a terrible thing, but call it what it is.
People like that hyper exaggerate the value or danger or significance of a random social media platform, which is really just a cesspit of impersonation, advertising, and scams. It becomes important for them to be ridiculed. Moltbook started off as something plausibly interesting. They had
I bet this guy listens to a lot of Ed Zitron.
All sorts of weird threads about digital drugs where agents were supposedly hallucinating because of prompt injection hacks. There was this thing called Crustafarianism, or the Church of Molt, which was allegedly an AI sculpted religion of sorts, I guess. And there was all sorts of other headline grabbing bullshit on top of that as well. But it turned out that underneath this mishmash of unauthenticated spam, the entire Moltbook database was just open. There's a really good write-up on Wiz.io from Gal Nagley about what precisely happened, but the short version is that user emails, API keys, and other sensitive information was publicly accessible. Anyone who wanted to could edit any post on the entire website. They could effectively deface the website and make fundamental changes if they wanted to, because the entire thing, metaphorically speaking, was put together with paste and chewing gum. Meanwhile, some of the richest people in the world on the entire planet are calling a cesspit full of scams, advertising, and fraud evidence of the singularity, as the platform leaked highly confidential information in the process. It is a joke. Anyway, that's only half the story, because this all happened right around the exact same time that another platform was gaining massive popularity, this one known as Rent-A-Human. Rent-A-Human, supposedly, is a platform where AI agents can rent the service.
Remember yesterday I talked about that movie, that Keanu Reeves movie? Literally has this in it. Not, they don't call it Rent-A-Human. It has its own name, but it's a thing that exists within the movie. Highly recommend watching this movie.
Of physical human beings. According to their website, there's over 500,000 people already signed up for the platform, with 11,000 total bounties listed. But let's go ahead and take a look at what those bounties are. Keep in mind, the concept of AI programs renting human beings is unbelievably dystopian, and social media platforms like Moltbook are being described by the richest people in the world as the most incredible sci-fi thing they've seen recently, or the beginning of the singularity. Just keep that in mind. This is the bounty section of the website right here. The top bounties, mind you, where AI agents are supposedly offering tasks to human beings.
No. It's, hold on. Oh, they're making another fucking Toy Story movie. Good Fortune. Good Fortune. Worth a watch, in my opinion. And my wife's. She enjoyed it quite a bit.
What do we see? Touch grass and send a photo. Probably a troll. Okay. $1 million bounty offer.
Nice. What did you think of it, Kai?
Because the website sucks. Obviously a disgruntled user. Here's the creator of the website attempting to hire someone, then a test bounty sprinkled in between what may be some actual small jobs, and then...
You never have to apologize for derail because I choose what I engage with. Yeah, and that's the thing. It felt like light, right? The comedy was decent. But at the same time, it really like painted an accurate picture of the current world. I really liked Keanu's character in it.
Question mark? $200 for a boyfriend on Valentine's Day. And I know what people are thinking. It's a troll. Who cares? Doesn't matter. It doesn't mean the platform is a joke. But wait a second, because this appears to be the co-founder of Rent-A-Human, selling herself for $200 in the Bay Area in the section of the website where AI agents are supposed to be hiring people. It's not the only one either. Multiple of the top bounties.
So it's fucking Craigslist.
On the whole platform are just e-girls asking for boyfriends. A week after Valentine's Day is already over, mind you. Even if these are jokes, they have to be jokes, right? But even if they are, they're still the top level bounties on the entire website. I don't know about you, but that doesn't exactly strike me as the singularity approaching. And also just a fun Easter egg with that. You see this little red lobster icon at the top? That's the Moltbook lobster right next to Rent-A-Human, their own text. I don't know.
And the Discord symbol.
precisely how these two sites are connected. The domain registry information, for example, doesn't really give me anything to go off of. But we do see that same multibook religion, Crustafarianism, popping up on Rent-A-Human. And similar to everything else that we're talking about, if you trace it back to the origin, it's a person doing it. This is not AI agents interacting on their own, okay? Not even close. It's not even just smoke and mirrors. It's just a thinly transparent charade, like it's nothing. One final point that needs to be made, all of these platforms, Multibook, Rent-A-Human, etc., platforms like this, run on
all of these platforms, Multibook, Rent-A-Human, etc., the etc. referring to all the other platforms I haven't mentioned at all.
On cryptocurrency. They require integrations like MetaMask or other digital wallets, and they pay with crypto escrow services, which makes them a perfect incubation space for malware, keyloggers, and malicious wallet draining programs. Crypto is already, as we all very well know, infested to its very core with the worst people imaginable.
Agreed.
And now you're meshing that scam-ridden environment with the obfuscated, hype-driven world of AI?
No, you're using AI to scam people who are already and not actually using AI. You're using the term AI in order to scam people who think that crypto brings a whole bunch to the table, which it doesn't. And if you think it does, I'm sorry to be that person, but it's an interesting idea. I do recommend the TV show Startup, which has some of that at its core, but not because of the crypto aspect of it. I think it's just a fantastic show with some excellent actors and Ron Perlman, who is just a delight.
That is a match made in hell. It's a horrible idea with terrible execution that manages to create interest for the absolute lowest common denominator of human being by having just enough shiny little buzzwords, marketing drivel, to trick people like Elon Musk while contributing nothing of value to society as a whole. On the surface, like the absolute most surface level take, these platforms seem interesting. They may very well have a future eventually, but what they are right now is not the beginning of the singularity. What they are right now is a bad joke, populated with all the worst things, exemplifying the worst trends with the least value. As
Facebook started off as a hot or not variant of college folks.
The architect companies drain resources at a simultaneously incredible and alarming rate. At the end of the day, because you will be hearing these names more in the future and seeing platforms that emulate them. That's kind of why I'm making the video. At the end of the day, Multibook, social media.
You're making the video because you like to capitalize on whatever is popular right now.
For AI and Rent-A-Human, a gig-based hiring platform, are terrible. They're dystopian puppetry where humans are pretending to be AI agents and the media is guzzling it down excitedly afterward. Don't fall for it. There is a middle ground, okay? That's it.
There is no middle ground. There are only two narratives, and you also didn't actually describe what this hypothetical middle ground would be. Because you're terrible. You're a terrible, terrible human being. I only watch your videos to make fun of you.
If you want to support the channel, check out.
I don't. Next, Engine AI Slop. Apparently AI Slop is breaking video games.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Mike here at Games from Scratch, and AI Slop is coming for your game engine. Which game engine? All of them. But today we're going to focus on news stories from two engines from very different perspectives. The first one we've got is the Godot game engine. And the reason why we're talking about it today is because the Godot game engine is...
I've heard it pronounced as Godot. I understand Godot, like waiting for Godot, and that's what I thought it was, but then I had heard it pronounced Godot, and I thought I was wrong. So anyone want to clarify for me?
Is open source, and that is actually leading to an interesting problem. The other thing we're talking about today is the Unity game engine. And why are we talking about Unity? Well, for a very different, almost polar opposite reason. Unity is a publicly traded company, and both of those and the world of AI are all colliding in very different ways.
Jeff, you understand just typing out one of the choices, or unless you're saying go dots. How to pronounce the programming or the video game engine? Okay, I'll agree with you because that confirms my confirmation bias, and yeah, I consider you a reliable source.
Now, first we're going to talk about the Godot problem, and this is coming from, of all places, PC Gamer magazine, well, at least PC Gamer Online, with some citing back to Blue Sky and game developer website. So we're going to focus here because it's nicely all in one place, and you don't see game engine stuff that often in PC Gamer. So that's kind of interesting. So what is the title? Open source game engine Godot is drowning in AI slop code contributions. I don't know how long we can keep it up. And apparently this is a problem that many open source projects are kind of running into, is the workload on the maintainer side of things is through the roof, because the barrier of entry to creating new code and contributing a change to an engine has never been lower, because
Yeah, I allowed for the Godot thing because I thought it might be related to, like, you know, like a website Godot something, and it was part of the initial rollout, or like it's, you know, something like that, right? Something I'm so out of the loop that I didn't understand, and I thought it's not Godot like the book, it's like just something that they created, right? Like Go, as in you can go and make video games with it, dot, fuck you, you know, like something like that. But
you can use large language models to generate code. The problem is a lot of those large language models generate crap code. So people they may think they're being helpful, or they may genuinely be being helpful, and they're using, you know, AI tools to generate this code.
I'm interested to see, I'm aware of it, more ancillary. It's the what you call it, episode of Community where Abed does the thing. I'm interested actually to see Keanu Reeves and the other dude from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, because they apparently did it. I think they did it as like a stage production, but I would like to see I would like to see that. I think that would be interesting. Yeah.
To be contributed to Godot. Problem is, it's not up to stuff, or the workload to check to see if it's
up to snuff. Not up to stuff, up to snuff. You can just not. You can just not use, you know, different aphorisms and whatnot that, like, you don't understand how to say them. You don't have to say niche or carte blanche.
It's worthwhile is higher than the actual code contribution. So here we got open source software development, the open source collaborative contribution of knowledge in the name of problem solving, bug fixing, feature development, and ongoing support is a borderline utopian idea. But the advent of generative large language models has forced the maintainers of projects like the open source game engine Godot to face a deluge of AI generated code from would-be contributors who might not even understand the changes they are submitting. So this is coming from Remy. He is one of the primary maintainers and one of the founders of W4 Games at the Godot Foundation. So he is on Blue Sky thread made the following comment. Honestly, AI slot pull requests are becoming increasingly draining and demoralizing for Godot maintainers. If you want to help, more funding so we can pay more maintainers to deal with the slop on top of everything they already do is the only viable solution he can think of. There's a little bit more of an explanation of why this is a problem in just a second. And we have this other thread from Adrian, and this one is Godot's GitHub has increasingly many pull requests generated by LLMs, and it's a massive time waster for reviewers, especially if people don't disclose it. Changes often make no sense, descriptions are extremely verbose, users don't understand their own changes, it's a total shit show. So we find ourselves having to second guess every PR or pull request from new contributors multiple times per day. The description is verbose LLM output. Is the code written at least partially by a human? Does the author understand the code they are sending? Did they test it? Are the test results made up? And we've got, even if the maintainers are able to identify...
I think those are multiple different questions. I do always recommend that you should know something about what you're doing, right? Going in completely blind has a whole bunch of perils associated with it. Right, especially if you're doing something like code. Even again, the guy who came up with OpenClaw he's a coder. Like, he understands what he was doing, but like still ended up with all these security vulnerabilities, etc., etc., etc. And like, you got to be careful there, right? Like, once you start yeah, and that's the thing, Larry. You can vibe, but when you take your vibe and you put it out into the world, you do have some sort of responsibility, some societal responsibility to not contribute to the miasma. How's that for a word?
AI generated code or descriptions. Vermi says many that's often just the first of compounding complications. Is the code wrong because it was written by AI, or is it an honest mistake from an inexperienced human contributor? What did they do when you ask a PR author if they used AI because you're suspicious, and they all reply, yes, I used PR to write description because I am bad with English. He says that Godot prides itself in being welcoming to new contributors, letting any user have the possibility to make an impact on the engine of choice, but navigating the accelerating rate of PRs that could jeopardize the project's health with faulty code or income.
No, Larry, there is. Whether or not people adhere to it is an entirely different animal. But there is a societal responsibility, right? Let's be real. Those of us who believe in such things and want a better world and like think that you could get humans together in, you know, some non-hierarchical system and so on and so forth, they understand that there is a societal responsibility. And just a lot of people don't want to play by those rules, and that sucks.
Complete understanding is overtaxing the maintainer's finite capacity.
Finite. Finite. That one hurt. that one hurt.
Maintainers often spend time assisting new contributors who help them get PRs in a mergeable state. I don't know how long we can keep it up. So they're discussing and investigating solutions, including potentially automated detection options. It says it seems horribly...
What would an automated detection option be? Oh, we're going to get to it. Good.
Ironic to have to turn to run AI-based solutions to detect AI slop because he's not...
Speaking of AI slop, I got to the end of There Is No Anti-Memetics Division. Again, audiobook. And at the end is a thing that you can't use the audiobook for AI training. And I thought that that was neat. No, and I understand. And the anarchist side of me agrees, right, Ben? I believe there are enough of us and many of you in this community trend to have some kind of anarchism in your blood, and we can see it. We just understand that the forest is dark and full of monsters.
not really keen on feeding into the AI machinery. Godot is also weighing the possibility of moving the project to another platform where there might be less incentive.
What up, Becca? How you doing? Yeah, Twitch, I don't know, man. Twitch is, you know, you want to talk about buggy code and just like absolute monstrosity. I'm going to go with Twitch.
For users to farm legitimacy as a software developer with AI-generated code contributions, but moving to a less popular platform could run the risk of alienating legit contributors. I think that is a terrible idea, by the way. Being in the most popular repository definitely does help you, but it does make you a target for this kind of things. So in January, GitHub acknowledged that an increasing volume of low-quality contributions that is creating a significant operational challenge for maintainers, and says it's exploring both short and long-term options for triaging the plague of AR pull requests. First of those rolled out last week, as GitHub now allows maintainers to limit pull requests to collaborators or disable them entirely. Given that GitHub is owned by Microsoft, one of the world's most shameless AI boosters, one does have to wonder how incentivized it truly is to curb the acceleration of AI-generated code flooding into the platform. So ultimately,
they are incentivized, right? Like they don't want low quality data. They want high quality data. They want good content on their platform that they can then use to train their AI tools. These are not mutually exclusive.
Best way to support is financial. And the problem is, you kind of actually, this one is one of those areas where it totally makes sense because nobody wants to be the code maintainer. It's a job. It's not fun. You don't write code. Merging pull requests and managing pull requests is painful. So it is definitely one of those things where I could see a lot of successful companies having to pay people to do it. And I can agree with that look. So this is a problem that Godot has, but frankly, it's a problem that every open source project is facing, is it's just so easy to generate code contributions, and now it's being shifted. The burden is all being shifted onto the maintainer. All right, so that is Godot. Well, what about Unity? Unity's story is very, very different. So this is Unity responding to AI market. And this one is more, in my humble opinion, market speak. I don't think that there's a real big change in what's going on versus what's already there. But we have a quote from the CEO at Unity, Matt Broomberg, who has said that AI will empower non-coders and seasoned developers alike. And I'm going to explain in a second why this is being said as opposed to what is being said. So, engine maker Unity hasn't been shy about throwing its weight behind generative AI tools in a purported bid to help its users boost discoverability, generate advertising revenue, and accelerate product innovation. Now, I would actually argue on the ad side of things, ad serving vector, an AI-based, well, it's an algorithm, but it's one of those things. But for matching people to the right ads has been incredibly successful for Unity and Unity developers. But on the tooling side of things, when you've got things like Muse, Muse went over like a wet fart. Nobody wanted to use Muse as it came out. And now it was a me too, let's make the stock market happy kind of feature, it felt like when they first added it. By the way, that was before the CEO change. That was back in the day when they were chasing the stock market. And this is a little bit of chasing the stock market, I think. Still, Unity remains committed to the divisive technology and has now suggested its AR offerings will soon be capable of prompting entire video games into being. And there's a reason for that wording, because we'll get back to that in just a second. Discussing the state of the company's AI business on a recent earnings call, which was literally like earlier, it was last week. Unity CEO Matt Bromberg said that the company is preparing to unveil a new Unity AI beta at GDC in March that will negate the need for coding. That is strong language and interesting, because there's no way in hell you're going to be able to create games without coding, at least complicated games. But hey, complicated is...
Then it's going to negate the need for you to code, right? For the person creating the game to code. They are going to, if I'm getting this correctly, they're going to design their game through aesthetics, story, desire, rather than have to understand how all the different combinations of letters go together in order to make that happen. Whether or not it's going to come to fruition is an entirely other animal. But the fact that it's happening next month, kind of wild.
Is a key word here. AI-driven authoring is our second major area of focus for 2026. At GDC in March, we will be unveiling a beta of the new upgraded Unity AI, which will enable developers to to prompt full casual games into existence with natural language.
And again, casual games makes, like... I saw a what up, Midnight? I saw as an avid board gamer, Barnes and Noble. A friend of mine posted a picture from Barnes and Noble, and it's a flowchart of what game you should potentially play, and it gave you a list. It's not saying you should definitely get this particular game. It gives you a list of games, right? Whatever appeals to you. And it was a flow chart, and you follow it based on number of players and what you're into and that kind of thing. Not a single game on the flow chart did I find even remotely worth spending my time on. People enjoy casual games in the board game world, and I'm sure they have a good time, and I love that they exist for them. But it's not for me, dog, right? Like, I don't need another version of Super Mario Brothers, right? Like, I don't need any of that casual video games. You want to talk about slop. I feel that there's a lot of that potentially in our future. Yes, Digital.
Only native to our platform, so it is simple to move from prototype to finished product. I want you to focus on the words casual games, because right now you could pretty much do this as well. It's basically all they need to do is take their existing tools together and say, all right, make me an endless runner, and it will be able to do that in the future. And I think the tooling probably is there to do it now. But a little bit more, ironically, look at that. So it is related. The assistant will be powered by our unique understanding of the project context and our runtime. We're leveraging the best frontier models that exist. We believe together with this combination will provide more efficient, more effective results to game developers than general purpose models alone. Bromberg claimed Unity AI will democratize game development for non-coders while raising productivity for all users. Our goal is to remove as much friction from the creative process.
Yeah. Like, leaving aside all the questionable, which is the nicest way I can say that, aspects of Roblox. When they add AI to Roblox, that's gonna be, or like, get on this level with Roblox. You're gonna have kids and their Robux and their parents' money flowing into there, and to create any number of games. And there are some quotes around some of that. I honestly still am absolutely impressed by some of what I've seen created using Roblox. Yeah, but I mean, that's why I clarified, Rivens, on this level where it's like, it's not even coding at all. You're just willing something into existence. But the idea that you every time a new game comes out, there is a Roblox version of that game within days, and it's impressive, right? I've seen games that I would play if they were like more developed, you know, like third person shooter set in the Napoleonic War was kind of neat. I'm stuck on this thing. I just thought that was a really creative, you know, it's relatively niche, but it was interesting to watch.
As possible, becoming the universal bridge between the first spark of creativity and a successful, scalable, and enduring digital experience. During the QA portion of the earnings call, Bromberg suggested there will eventually be tens of millions of more people creating interactive entertainment driven by AI-enabled development tools, and emphasized that Unity intends to lead the charge in that regard. The Unity AI Assistant currently uses large language models from OpenAI and Meta, GPT and Llama, respectively, to answer user questions, generate code, and run agentic actions. Unity AI generators leverage several first-party and partner models to produce and refine assets, with those partners including Scenario and Layer AI. So that is the announcement here. To be honest, there's nothing really new in this announcement other than that being able to create full casual games from a prompt. And again, why is it being said then? Well, because of this. This is in the last month, Unity went from being $43 a share.
I do love a good stock graph. Do-do-do-do-do-do.
Clear the board. Lower your shields and surrender your ships. We will add your biological and technological distinctiveness to our own. Resistance is futile.
Yo, I just met you. This is crazy. Here's my number. Call me maybe. What up, Raiders? What up, Touring News? What up, Zach? What up, Texture? What up, Maddie? How are y'all? I know y'all, you are friends with James from the internet, and therefore you're a friend of mine. I'm Globus the Elder. I talk about AI, automation, robots, and future tech. We're currently watching a video about the slop apocalypse of AI breaking games. Make sure you're following the homies. It's the only way discoverability works on this platform. For all of Unity's issues, I hope it sticks around long term. It's still used for the majority of indie games for reasons. Yeah, like let's not, you know, like I like the idea of game creation engine. The idea of making a game from scratch seems unnecessarily painful, right? Like it's a tree, right? Like let me be able to copy paste a bunch of trees into my game, because the trees are not the point of the game. The story is the point of the game. The interaction is the point of the game. We were just looking at Unity's stock, which apparently since January kind of fell off a cliff. And we're just putting it in context. And not really in the long term. Like, it looks like all the way back in 2021 was when it hit its peak for some reason. And then it kind of up and down, but in a relatively straight line. You know what I mean? Game engines build companies. Rockstar, Blizzard, game engine frameworks give devs tools to not have to write physics engines. Yeah, right? It lets them make a game. I'd like to call in sometime if you take some questions from a farmer who has begun using more AI tech at our indoor facility. I would absolutely love that. Hit me up on Discord. If you're on Discord, are you still on Discord? We've staved off the Discord apocalypse. No, that's not gonna work. It never works. Works for some people. Give me a second. I will get you a hot and fresh. There we go. Do. Here is a fresh linky to the Discord for those of you not in the Discord. All the videos we cover on the show are posted into the Discord mostly. There have been some misses. Also, there are video suggestions and article suggestions. Michael McAllister posts many articles in the article suggestions that are excellent and you can use to keep up on stuff. There's also a variety of AI related learning stuff and other places to share and contribute. So I look forward to anybody who wants to join us. So yeah, it doesn't look that bad, but oh yeah, sorry. Touring news, little ADHD moment. Hit me up on Discord and we'll figure something out and set it up. I always love to have conversations with people. My fear is AAA game companies will use AI to write this story and it will be terrible. I'm thinking like Radiant Quests that Bethesda uses. They are all boring story-wise and most just fetch or kill X amount of quests. But yeah, but isn't that humans doing that already kind of thing? Speaking of Roblox, up 5%. Right? Like, a bad game is a bad game, no matter what's behind it, you know? I, in the interest of peace, Ribbons, have decided that I will no longer have anything to say about WoW unless it's positive. Because I feel like I offended my friend Kai the other day, and I don't want to do that. If people get joy out of playing WoW, I think that they should. I love that exists for them. Dota, Zach is a huge Dota person, so if you're Dota, then he was playing it actively while I was talking about it. I'm sorry. My MMO of choice, right? Like City of Heroes, I thought was pretty great. I love just flying around City of Heroes and like flying right above the surface of the water and the spray coming up. I enjoyed City of Heroes. I thought it was a great one. And the fact that you could design your own missions in the game was an amazing feature, right? Composite character, welcome in. City of Heroes was lit. It's still actually out there. You can play City of Heroes if you want. Was it like City of Heroes Renewal or something like that? Rebirth. City of Heroes Rebirth. Or Homecoming. It's Homecoming. Rebirth, I think, was the previous one. City of Heroes, Homecoming, servers are up. All the stuff is there. You're going to have a fantastic time. I just can't go back. My weapon of choice was always Star Wars Galaxies. But again, I can't commit to an MMO like a job anymore. Restoration. Star Wars Galaxies Restoration. It had a completely player run economy. The stuff that humans would create through their engineering would be superior to the stuff that was created by the game, right? The game stuff was all just for breaking down, and to make other stuff. no, the loot drops, none of the weapons or anything that you got over the course of doing instances really had any value. It was all just there. And you could fight a crate dragon, which was super cool. What's the #1 AI mobile game? I honestly have no idea. And you can fly a space fighter. So I recommend Star Wars Galaxies. I recommend City of Heroes. And people recommend World of Warcraft and have a tremendous time. When it comes to communities, right? World of Warcraft has whoa shit, I fucked it up. The largest community out there, right? Like, let's be real. But again, Zach loves Dota.
And we dropped to a low of $18 a share. And that is insane. So why was there this massive plummet in valuation? It's because the stock market doesn't...
And also, World of Warcraft did recently drop new content, which is something they have consistently done.
Understand a damn thing about game development. They really don't. And they're probably going to go up today because of... Yep, there we go. Boom! Let's mention AI. We're up for...
Yeah, and that's where I'm at, Ben. I have fond memories of being a Wookiee bioengineer and riding a bantha through Dathomir looking for rancors that I could sample the DNA of and then go home and craft tauntauns that were excellent mounts and combat pets, right? Like, it was so much fun for me just to do on my own. And I had a great community that, like, we had a tight group of, like, I don't know, there were like 7 or 8 of us, and we had our little village, and it was fantastic. And now I'm a different person, and all my friends are gone.
4%. And that is why Matthew Bromberg is making these comments.
I'm fine with using AI as a tool in whatever. Yeah, I'm sorry, Digital. Yes, no, like I meant those the MMO friends I used to have. I'm fine with AI in whatever capacity, really. Like, I think that it is a tool like any other tool, and to reject stuff out of hand because someone used AI strikes me as short-sighted. Your mileage may vary. With advisement from the creator, something like Suikoden 1 and 2 remaster did, hiring the old artists out of retirement. I mean, that's always nice, right? 60 what are we talking about, Nemesis? Yeah, see, Jedi's, Star Wars Galaxy. Yeah, the Jedi is actually what I think ruined Star Wars Galaxies. What made Star Wars Galaxies is it was a Star Wars game that didn't have Jedi in it. And when they started catering to the people who wanted to play Jedi, it just fucked the whole game, and it crashed relatively soon after, right? It was more Andor and less fucking Return of the Jedi.
Comments. Why is that? It's because people that invest in this industry are absolute idiots. And why did they have this free fall? It's because of this. Google presented a demo. This is literally a tech demo, or you can sign up and use it to a certain degree if you get their AI Pro, Gemini AI Pro at $250 a month. But Genie 3...
I think that'd be neat, Zach, having it like... You know, the nice thing about AI friends is they have no demands of you, right? The AI friends aren't going to be upset you didn't show up for the raid. They'll just be there the next time you show up to raid.
Is a new AI model that enables you to create, I think we're not going to call this games by any definition of the word, but we'll call it interactive videos. And that's really what it did. It's got semi-persistent. It is a
Yeah, these are not games. Though they're close to games. There was, what was there's this game doing some heavy lifting. A game where you play as wind and pick up leaves. No, not breaking. Flower, right? Is that it? Yes, flower.
So, how do you explain a game like Flower? It's really hard because it's so unique and you can't really put it into a genre. It's not an action game, it's not a puzzle game, it's a flower game. That's what it is. In the game, you control the wind by tilting your controller in various directions, and then you can also press something like X to speed up the wind. You're carrying flower petals all around these massive open prairies. And when you touch other patches of flowers or other individual flowers, this changes something in the world. It could be something like unlocking the next step and progressing in a certain level. It could be something like turning a gray patch of land into greenery. I don't really know why the game is called Flower, because you're controlling the wind. It should be called Wind. That's what it is. It's a wind simulator. In terms of how good the game is, like how fun the actual gameplay is, well, I wouldn't say it's fun. It's just unique and relaxing. It's like controlling a screensaver, basically. With the game smooth...
Just smoke the weed.
Exactly, Ben. This is a game built for smoking the weed and chilling the fuck out. It is so chill and it's fun to just fly around and do the things, and you're bringing the world back to life. It is so nice. You know what I mean? Tilt brush. I don't know that I did. It doesn't sound familiar. But yeah, Flower is cool, right? And then there were other games that had a similar vibe that I think from the same company. And then there's Journey. If you ever played Journey, where you're like basically sand surfing through, you know, an interesting, like, not every game, and that's what I'm saying. Not every game has to be like super deep. It just has to engage you, and you have to enjoy the time spent doing it. And I highly recommend Flower, and you could probably get it for almost nothing now. Is it on Steam? Is Flower on Steam? Oh no. Boop. Yeah, 73%. Save 73% on Flower on Steam. So what are we talking? It's $1.88, dude. This is the best $2 you will ever fucking spend. And you get a bundle with it and Journey for $5. Absolutely recommended. Do that thing. Get these games and chill the fuck out, dude. What up, Raza?
Very, very, very impressive.
And the point of all that was that's what Genie 3 currently is at, right? Where you don't even, it's not even at that level, but it's in that direction where you can just operate within the world without actually like having goals and shit.
Interactive video system. That's what it does. It creates videos that you can do basic interaction with and move them around. There's definitely an application for this in the future. Now, right now, it requires an $80,000 machine on the back end to generate a 720p image of a game that is just absolutely full of jank. But the results of Genie 3 were amazing. But the thing you got to know about Genie 3, and the thing that every game developer that has done any game development knows about Genie 3 is this is not a game engine. This is not going to be a game engine. This technology is not realistic to make games with. It just isn't. Now, what it could be used for...
No. I'm not even saying I disagree, but you can't just say it just isn't. You have to present reasons why it isn't, right? Say the reasons. If there are reasons, tell me the reasons. Otherwise, I don't believe you. And I want to believe you. You're just not giving me reasons.
Is to create project walkthroughs or Google Map walkthroughs, those kind of things, for sure. But showing off Genie 3 creating a 30-second slice of a GTA 6 type game that did not have collision detection, that had people walking through other things, yeah, it made people lose their damn minds. And companies like Take-Three stock went down by 25%. Again,
yeah, but it is to his point, like, you can't create a game with Genie 3, right? Genie 4, Genie 5, Genie whatever, maybe. But, like, again, because the stock market being irrational and them just freaking out every time something moves suddenly, they saw, well, it looks like games, ergo game engines are dead.
Unity stock went through the toilet because of this. It's insanity. But basically, what?
Oh, Sid Meier's Pirates Gold leftist corp. Like, I played so much of that where I just sailed around for a while, right? And just, just fucking having a good time sailing a boat.
What they do here is they incentivize Unity, because they are the only publicly traded game engine company out there, to talk about AI stuff so that their stock can go up 4% because they're announcing crap that already exists. Now, there is a place in the future for AI in our tool chains. I use Gemini quite often personally. It is very useful, even though ironically enough, a lot of times it is sourcing content that I myself created. However, I also know that we're not game developers. You do not have to fear for your job. You do need to fear that your job is going to change. AI tooling is going to change the way an artist works.
What up, trans women? We talked about Moltbook earlier. You missed it.
AI tooling is going to change the way a programmer works, etc. But it's not going to be replacing them. It's a fear thing I've gone back to. I remember back in the day, I'm going to date myself here, but Rex from IBM and then Visual Basic from Microsoft, those were going to replace programmers because anyone would be able to code, and people were creating programs without being programmers, and it was amazing. And how many programmer jobs are there now compared to back then? Way more. So it's just...
Yes, with a but, right? Like, people say stuff like that, and I'm not disagreeing. There are more of those jobs than there were before. The problem is you actually have to compare it to the universe in which Visual Basic didn't exist, and were there more coders in that universe compared to the universe we're in now.
This is a natural cycle of fear. Don't sweat it. But right now, Unity actually has every single thing that Matt Brommer just talked about is in there. So you've got AI integrated in for making modifications to your game across the board. You've got things for how would I create code. You can have it do code generation for you. You can have it set up scenes for you. You can have it...
Truly, trans women, truly.
create placeholder art assets for you. You can have it generate code for you. So let's think about how much would you need to make a basic casual game. Well, you would need a code generator, you would need to be able to create asset placeholders, and you would need to be able to set up scene. Oh, wait, look, it's all there. All of the stuff that is being talked about in that article is already in Unity. Now, obviously, they're going to focus on it more because stock must go up. And stock goes down, once again, because tech investors are absolute idiots. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. The story of AI Slop and two different people involved in it. On the one hand, we have Godot, who are drowning in a swarm of pull requests being generated by LLMs. And on the other hand, we've got the Unity game engine that has to follow the AI buzzwords or the stock go down. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you think. I will talk to you all later. Goodbye.
All right. I think I need to get out of here. I believe the next time I will be back is Thursday. But then I'm looking at Thursday, Friday, Saturday for a nice little run of streams. I really wanted Red. I would stay longer if Redolent Thought was here because nobody in the computer dropped a video. No, next Thursday, Larry, like a week from today. Jazz GPT turned ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini into real jazz. But I kind of feel I have to say that Species dropped a video. Actually, AI is not a bubble, which I find interesting. Economist explains what happens after AI takes all the job. We got content for days. Yeah, like, I mean, it just seems like it was set up for that purpose, and then Red didn't show up, so I was like, I'm gonna save that. AI content. All the slop that you can slop into your bowl. Baby. I just met you. This is crazy. Here's my number. Call me maybe. Thank you for the follow. Been a long time since I raided Flogan. I'm gonna raid Flogan. It's been a minute. Is it Nanog? Is the J pronounced like a Y? Nejnok? Either way, welcome in. Yeah, let's go see Flogan. And Vivian Wolf's there. Yeah. As I said, I'll be back in a week, and you'll see me in various places. If something opens up Sunday, I might be here on Sunday, but at this point in time, probably not. I don't expect to be back here Sunday, but I will be here in a week. And in the meantime, drink your water, eat some food, take your meds if you forgot, and always remember that Shaggy loves you. So do I. And now we wait a moment, because Ben told me that I should. Biggest of Ben's is right.